Hello, it's time for our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha Television. My name is Bernard Mwanza. Our top stories. Pope Francis says everyone can experience the loving and concrete attention of the Lord in Eucharist. Unima Child Rights Legal Clinic to go ahead with its demonstrations bordering on child rights. Government pledges to support the Queens as they prepare for the forthcoming 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. And another news, more than 100 killed in Ethiopia's Oromia region. We have these and many other stories. Stick around. Pope Francis on Sunday reminded believers that the Lord, who is present in the Eucharist, takes each and every one of us to heart, cares for us, and satisfies our need for nourishment, companionship, and consolation. Addressing pilgrims gathered for the Angelus in St. Peter's Square, the Pope noted that on this Sunday, 19 June, the solemnity of the Most Holy Body and Blood of Christ is celebrated in Italy and in other countries. He said the Eucharist, which was instituted during the Last Supper, was like the destination of a journey along which Jesus had prefigured through several signs, above all the multiplication of the loaves. We have a Catholic News Agency report being read by Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Pope's remarks reflected on the Sunday's Gospel reading, the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves and fishes from the Gospel of Luke. The Pope linked the reading to the institution of the Eucharist at the Last Supper. The Eucharist was like the destination of a journey along which Jesus had prefigured through several signs, above all the multiplication of the loaves narrated in the Gospel of today's liturgy. The Pontiff reflected on the manner of the miracle when Jesus fed so many who lacked food. He said the miracle of the loaves and fishes does not happen in a spectacular way, but almost secretly, like the wedding at Cana. The bread increases as it passes from hand to hand, and as the crowd eats, they realize that Jesus is taking care of everything. The Pope connected the tangible needs of food with the intangible needs of humankind. He said sometimes there is the risk of confining the Eucharist to a vague, distant dimension, perhaps bright and perfumed with incense, but rather distant from the straits of everyday life. In reality, the Lord takes all our needs to heart, beginning with the most basic. He added that in the Eucharist, everyone can experience this loving and concrete attention of the Lord, and that those who receive the body and blood of Christ with faith not only eat, but are satisfied. The Pope also prayed that the Virgin Mary may teach us how to adore Jesus, living in the Eucharist, and to share him with our brothers and sisters.
That was Tandiwe Mzumara with a Catholic News Agency report. The Catholic University of Malawi has today held a groundbreaking exercise at the site the institution envisions to construct its campus at Nanjiri in Lilongwe. The development means the project that aims at fortifying efforts offered at Ngurudi campus in Chirazuru will take shape until 2024. Chancellor of the University of the Catholic University, Archbishop George Desmond Tambala, led fellow bishops into launching the project, which took place on Monday at the construction site. We have a report by Helbert Katanda.
The construction project will be done in phases, with the first phase having a 3-story building comprising of 18 classrooms and 6 staff from offices. In an interview after the launch, Archbishop Tambala said the project entails efforts that the Catholic Church is making towards the education sector. Archbishop Tambala, who is also the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe, appealed for assistance from organizations and government. He said they have only managed to source funds for the first phase. Bait Tambala.
As you see, we have toured around and we have seen the growth of this place. There's a master plan. There's a lot that we still have to do. Even at the time when there will be the students will be here, there will still be a lot that the university will need in terms of financial but also human resources. So this plea for help certainly is genuine. It will come and will be, as you know, that the university is benefiting a lot of stakeholders. We will be reaching out to stakeholders, those who are actually benefiting from the graduates that are coming from here. We'll also be reaching out to the church and to our faithful, the Catholics, but also to all those people who would like to help us.
On his part, UNIMA Vice-Chancellor Reverend George Blair said the new campus will not replicate programs offered at its main campus in Golodi, but will offer the university an opportunity to explore other programs. He also said the university will open its doors in 2024 and that students using rented premises for weekend classes in Lilongwe will have the privilege of using the Nigeria campus premises.
Indeed, we would like not to duplicate the programs that are being offered at the main campus, because if we duplicate, we find that applicants will not have choices, but applicants should have choices. And that is why we don't intend to duplicate. There have to be new programs at this campus. We'll have to sit down as Senate and brainstorm what programs can we offer in Lilongwe. What programs are distinct from the programs that we are offering at the main campus, and probably that are being offered from or by other universities, so that we should be a distinct college.
The first phase of the construction process has been pinned at a cost of 1.5 billion kwacha. The Catholic University of Malawi is a fast-growing institution of higher learning accredited by the National Council for Higher Education to offer degrees, diplomas, and certificates. It was established by the Episcopal Conference of Malawi in October 2004. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Hilbert Katanda.
The University of Malawi UNIMA Child Rights Clinic has vowed to go ahead with its planned Tuesday demonstrations burdening child rights in the country as they want the Chinese national Lu Ke, who was insulting Malawian children on camera, to be tried in the country's courts. Making the remarks earlier today after meeting with government officials, the clinic's supervisor, Professor Gaton Kamchizera, told journalists in Lilongwe that the grouping wants human rights, rather human dignity, to be respected and justice for the children involved to be served. According to Kamchizera, the grouping is of the view that the issue be looked from a broader picture, saying it may not be only Susu, but many more out there abusing Malawian children. Tandiwe Mzmara has the details.
The meeting comes following the conduct of Chinese national Lu Ke, commonly known as Shushu, who captured himself on record abusing children by encouraging them to use racist language in his short films, which he was selling online in China. In his remarks after their meeting with government authorities, University of Malawi UNIMA Child Rights Clinic Supervisor Professor Garton Nkamchizera noted that it is a mistake for some to think this is a small matter, as it borders on the dignity of the whole nation, as the Chinese national is making money at the expense of exploiting poor children. According to Kamchizera, there is need to ensure that human dignity is respected by all, rule of law in pursuit of justice followed, and that decisions and actions taken should be in interest of children.
We have demands that we are going to be making regarding that particular case tomorrow when we go out on the streets to demonstrate. But I can tell you that we would expect the two governments in the shortest time possible to bring that man here and get him tried in our courts. That we'll be putting forward tomorrow, but it will be in the petition. But we thought that the mistake that most people are making in the government and in the country is to think that this is a small case about one man called Susu who made one video. This is a whole industry we are talking about.
In his remarks, Minister of National Unity Timothy Mtambo emphasized that as government, they believe in the protection of child rights and in fighting any form of racism, hence the engagement meeting through which they emphasized their commitment towards making sure that justice is saved in this case and that gaps in the fight against violation of child rights are covered. Commenting on the decision by the Unima Child Rights Clinic to still hold demos on Tuesday, Mtambo said as government they cannot stop people from expressing their rights.
That as a government, we have zero tolerance to child rights abuse, and we condemn the act, and we're going to make sure that the person that actually did such a malpractice must be held accountable. We wanted also to report to the NGOs and indeed the general public that we are working collectively with the the Chinese government to make sure that that person should be held accountable, and law must take its course for the people to learn from this malpractice.
Reports have it that the Chinese national Liu Kei, also known as Shushu, has been arrested in Chipata, Zambia. According to a spokesperson for the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services responsible for Central Region, Pasquale Zulu, they are working with the Zambian government to have Liu Kei back in the country, where he will be answering charges. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
Girls Activist Youth Organization GAYO has called for implementation of policies that were put in place to promote the rights of children in the country, citing a surge in child labor and children trafficking cases is a result of poor implementation of such policies. The call has been made on Saturday, the 18th of June, at Kabuntu Primary School in Lilongwe, as GAYO, in conjunction with Organization for Sustainable Socioeconomic Development Initiatives, OSED, Found for Nations, Her Liberty and Oxfam held the Day of an African Child commemoration under the theme Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children for the Central Region. We have a report by Arinafe Piri.
Executive Director of GAYO, Richard Batch, stressed that education is a fundamental right, hence the country should put in effort to promote these rights, especially for children. Batch further registered concerns of budget, stressing the education sector is underfunded, a situation that is pushing back the development of quality education infrastructure in the country. He also said that government must ensure full allocation of funds in the sector, for according to the records, not all funds indicated in the budget statements get deposited in the education sector.
As a Malawi, we are good at having policies that are not being fully implemented on the ground. As you have seen that in Malawi, we have high cases of child trafficking. On the same time, there are more prostitution of children, and also we have the issues of child labor in Malawi. So as a government of Malawi, we need to do more in ensuring that the cases of human trafficking and the cases of child labor has to be reduced.
Commemorating the Day of an African Child for the Central Region under the local theme Children First, Deputy Minister of Education Monica Changanamono admitted to the concerns of poor policy implementation and underfunding of the education sector, but was quick to say that government is working tirelessly to improve the economic situation on the ground and uplift the lives of children in the country.
Today, as we are talking now, we have the Malawi 2063, and with that, we know that the backbone of it's education. And therefore, we really need to put our emphasis on education. And you agree with me that even in this year's budget, the ministry that took the large chunk of the budget is education. Just showing that as government we are committed. We really want our youth to be educated.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Education has called for a stop to bullying of girls who are doing great in their studies in schools, as government is encouraging girls to be at par with boys in the country. Director of Child Affairs in the Ministry of Gender, McKnight Kalanda, said government should nationalize children parliaments in order to implement effective projects and policies reflecting the concerns of children.
We need to give the child a voice. And the best way to give the child a voice is to let that child interact with the duty bearers. In that sitting of Children's Parliament, you have a council chair, a representative from the Social and Community Affairs of Parliament, even the Minister of Gender, us as directors, and all relevant stakeholders at the district. and the children will often debate on issues that affect them, education, issues of child marriages, health services, food and nutrition security, which are critical.
The commemoration of the Day of an African Child 2022 presents an opportunity to take stock of what has been done with regards to the adoption of policies and practices and reflect on what more needs to be done to effectively eliminate harmful practices affecting children in Africa. It further presents an opportunity to review the status of harmful practices affecting children in Africa by highlighting the issues that African children are facing in their daily lives due to the harmful practices and assess where we are towards the protection and assistance of children who are at risk and victims of harmful practices in Africa. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Alina Fipiri.
This newscast is coming to you from our Bishop Navy Media Center in Lilongwe, and you are with me, Brennan Mwanza. Before we proceed, let's take a look at our main stories. Pope Francis says everyone can experience the loving and concrete attention of the Lord in Eucharist. Unima Child Rights Legal Clinic to go ahead with its demonstrations bordering on child rights. Government pledges to support the Queens as they prepare for the forthcoming 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. And another news, more than 100 killed in Ethiopia's Oromia region. Moving on, the blood donors in the eastern region have promised to continue donating blood in order to save lives of people in the country. Speaking at Makoro Garden, Baraka over the weekend on behalf of his fellow donors in the eastern region, Chimwemwe Mchaja, who is a 34 times blood donor, said they will continue the exercise to make sure that blood is available in the hospitals while encouraging all Malawians to follow suit. Andrew Nandoro has compiled a report being read by Bridget Manoka.
Every year, Malawi Blood Transfusion Service organizes a function for people to donate blood. This year, the day was special because MBTAs organized the function in all the regions, not only to collect blood, but to celebrate those people who donate each and every year. Speaking to the media at Makolo Garden in Balaka, Chimwemwe Mchaja, one of the most customers to donate blood, encouraged his fellow donors and all Malawians of goodwill to donate blood to save lives. He said it feels happy saving other people's lives by donating blood.
It begins with a single donation to reach the way I am here, and I'm not stopping here. I will continue donating blood. So it's my plea to my fellow citizens that we should come in large numbers. We have got the centers in Northeast, Central region, Eastern region. Here we are, and also in the southern part.
In her remarks, District Commissioner for Machinga, who was the guest of honor, Rosie Nawasha, asked those who have never donated blood to do so. She said that testimonies are there that without donating blood, people who need them can die, yet we can save them by donating a pint.
My word to them is that they should at least make it a point to donate blood. If by now they have not yet donated blood in our hospitals or through my blood transfusion services, they should do so because it is important. We have seen that testimony. If there was no blood ready, it means those people would have lost them. But through the blood that is already available, we are saving a lot of lives. So,
on her part, Eastern Region Head of Depot at Malawi Blood Transfusion Services, Edith Jimpamba, thanked the blood donors, saying the service is overwhelmed with the response of people from Eastern Region who are now coming in large numbers to donate blood. She then encouraged all eligible people to go for blood donation so that the service can reach its target of 12,000 units of blood in all the districts.
Recently, the past 9 months, we've had enough blood and we are very happy about it. And we are also very thankful to our blood donors. They have done enough job and they have saved a lot of patients in the hospitals. And all hospitals, the past 9 months, they have had enough blood. No complaints from them. And we have even reached to the extent of having more units and even calling them to come and collect blood.
During the function, It was also revealed that St. Charles Ruanga Catholic Boys Secondary School in Balaka was the most blood donor school, seconded by St. Paul's Minor Seminary in Mangochi. Third was Nachitemi Community Secondary, and fourth was Chikweo Community Day Secondary School. The theme for this year was Donating Blood is an act of solidarity. Join the effort to save life.
Bridget Mwanoka reading that report compiled by Andrew Nandoro from Baraka. The National AIDS Commission NAC says the fight against HIV/AIDS as a public health issue in the country is going towards the right direction as micro-indicators are showing an improvement. This was said on Sunday during the 2022 International AIDS Candlelight Memorial, which took place at Manga Primary School in Baraka District. According to Loris Chobe, one of the members of National AIDS Commission's Board of Commissioners, the numbers of new infections have dropped from 56,000 in 2010 to 20,000 in 2021. And Nandoro was there and compiled a report being read by Faris Chizombe.
The goal is to reach 11,000 new infections per year, as indicated in the National AIDS Commission new strategic plans, which will run until 2025. According to Lawrence Jobe, the Commission is working hard to reduce new infections from the key populations that are still registering high numbers.
Statistics from NAC, the prevalence as of now is roughly about 8.9% of the population. Suffice to say that this is the general statistics for the population, but there are also other what we call key populations which are having increased prevalence of HIV and AIDS. For example, the sex workers. And again, for example, we have talked about the adolescent girls and also the young women. The transgender people, these are the key populations which we really feel as the National AIDS Commission to say that much as the prevalence has gone down to single digits, but in these categories they are quite high, and we really have to make strategic efforts to address the figures.
In her speech, Minister of Health Ikumbizi Kandodo Chiponda has directed that clear policies should be put in place by NAC to protect the youth from stigma in schools, be it boarding or day schools, as well as in public hospitals, where patients are sometimes not identified with dignity. Chiponda has also assured all Malawians living with HIV that government will continue taking care of them as medication is available and means of testing for the virus are also simple, as self-testing is also possible.
And also let me take the advantage of the interview to inform Malawians, because there was fears that will stop giving Bactrim to those living with HIV and AIDS. The policy has not changed, only that we had short supply, but now we have the cotrimoxazole in stock. So let me encourage them that we have enough stocks of ARVs, but also enough stocks of cotrimoxazole, which we call Bactrim for them.
This year's theme is We Remember. We are taking action and we can live beyond HIV, which Chiponda has described as hope for everyone living with HIV as the country heads to Agenda 2030 of zero infections.
Faris Chizombe reading a report compiled by Andrew Nandolo. First Lady Madam Monica Chagwera has accepted to be the Queen's patron and pledged to give full support, as they have proven to be the best after winning all 6 games in the Confederation of Southern Africa Netball Association Kosana Tri Nations tournament held at Kamuzu University of Health Sciences Sports Complex in Blantyre. She made the remarks at a breakfast hosted for the Queens at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe, where among others Captain Carol Mtugule and Netball Association of Malawi NAM President Abigail Sharif said despite doing well they face a lot of challenges like mobility since they don't have a bus, which also affects their performance. Bridget Monoga was there and she now reports.
In her speech, Madame Jagwera said that the Queen's win tell a story of their unconquerable courage, saying that they are a team full of role models that range from players, coaches and all officials. Acknowledging that the team is facing a lot of challenges, Madam Chakwera assured them that together with the Ministry of Youth and Sports will make sure that some of the challenges are addressed, as the Queens are one of the best teams in Africa, ranking at position 3.
I can speak this morning without fear or favor that you are a team full of role models that range from players, coaches and all officials. Be assured that your achievement is in the Tri-Nations tournament has inspired others out there to dream big and aspire to become part of this winning team.
In her remarks, Queen's head coach PC Jawinga asked for financial support from government, stakeholders and well-wishers, arguing that the Queens deserve all the support as they put the country on the map. She also said that government should consider allocating enough funds, claiming that they were only allocated 150 million kwacha during the 2022-2023 national budget. Commenting on the upcoming games in South Africa, Chawinga said it is a platform which will make them know their strength and where they stand as they prepare for their Commonwealth Games, since they will face South Africa and New Zealand, among others.
They are crucial. If you know, South Africa is ahead of us, England is ahead of us. So giving these other girls that platform will help us a lot. We can't test them during the platform in England. Some of them have never tested this kind of games, or maybe some of them they have only played the African games. The way the African tournament, the way the African teams plays is very different from England and South Africa. So giving them that platform will help us a lot, because those are the kind of teams which we are going to meet at the Commonwealth Games.
Also present at the breakfast was Minister of Youth and Sports, Richard Jimwendo Banda, who pledged full support to the Queens, saying he has already informed Malawi National Council of Sports to form a team which will look into issues affecting the Queens.
We need to make sure that the Queens are supported, and we make sure that the Queens are getting whatever they're supposed to get. And the first of all, just inviting them to have breakfast with them, inspire them, and then later on accept to be their patron. You know, that's something good for the Queens.
As part of preparations for the forthcoming 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games, the National Association of Malawi, NAM, hosted the Confederation of Southern Africa Netball Association, COSANA Tri-Nations Tournament at Kamuzu University of Health Sciences Sports Complex in Blantyre on the 12th and 16th June, where they beat Zimbabwe and Namibia in all 6 games. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Bridget Manoka reporting.
And finally, news from elsewhere, more than 100 people, mostly from the Amara ethnic group, have been killed in an attack in Ethiopia's Oromia region, where officials are blaming the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, for one of the deadliest attacks in recent memory. The regional government in Oromia confirmed the attack but not give details about casualty figures. Earlier, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed had condemned what he described as horrific acts in Oromia without giving details. The attack comes as ethnic strife threatens to break apart Africa's second most populous country. Fighting that erupted in 2020 in the northern Tigray region spilled over into the neighboring regions of Afar and Amara last year. Well, on that note, we have come to the end of our 7:30 news here on Luntha Television. But before we go, another look at our main stories. Pope Francis says everyone can experience the loving and concrete attention of the Lord in Eucharist. Unima Child Rights Legal Clinic to go ahead with its demonstrations bordering on child rights. Government pledges to support the Queens as they prepare for the forthcoming 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. And another news, more than 100 killed in Ethiopia's Oromia region. This has been Brennan Mwanza. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.